Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday meeting each and every week. Today's the 17th of February. Welcome to all of our members from throughout the United States and Canada. And if we have members today, I'm sure we do, from England and possibly Australia. Welcome. These meetings take place every single week, and they're all the way through June the 30th of 2021, same time, same place. So please join us each week. The classes are rolling along, and the signups have been better than any other year in the past, and we're very happy with the response to them. Don't forget, on the 27th of February, Maryland will be back with Apple Watch OS 7. And try to attend that meeting. Even if you don't have a watch, you should know about all the health issues and things that it can do for you today. It is really a critical piece of the Apple world. The class this Saturday is the photo class by Dan Wazink. And if you're not signed up already for that class, sign up for it now for Saturday. Here's a list of the classes. Don't forget, we changed the Zoom class that was supposed to be the first class to March the 20th. And Dan will also be teaching the Zoom class. Because of the terrific response we got to our classes, we decided to throw in what we call the bonus class. So we'll have a free bonus class, a 2.5-hour regular class on March the 27th. With that class, you'll get a free Take Control book. And of course, your normal free video of the class, and it's for NaplesMUG members only. The subject will be managing your files, and it's something we all need to do and learn and understand. And it'll be by Jeff Carlson, who's been with us before and was very much liked at his previous meeting. All you have to do is send a note or an email to Eckert, and in the subject area, type bonus class. Mentioning Eckert, he's the guy behind the scenes that makes this Zoom class come on schedule. He and Sheeta go through time beforehand, the day before or 2 days before, with either the speaker or the instructor for the classes. And it's a very involved process, Zoom, and it works well for us. And the quality of the video and the quality of the audio are outstanding. Next week's meeting is our famous Alan Weinstein, all the way from DC, the District of Columbia. Alan, besides wearing many hats over his lifetime, is now an amateur photographer, and he's going to review the strategy behind taking bus and reflection images. He's a great photographer, and he's got a lot of experience in that area, and I'm sure it'll be an exciting meeting when he shares some of that with us. Today's meeting is Cristian Boyce. Chris is a great friend of NaplesMUG. He's been with us, I think, 3 other times. I'm hoping that next year, Chris will partake in teaching a couple classes. And we welcome you, Chris. And thank you for doing this. And I hope everybody's got their iPhone and has it upgraded to 14.4. Is that correct?
You're right. That'd be perfect.
Right. Okay, Cristian, it's all yours.
Okay. Well,
thank you.
Thank you, George. First of all, it's really great to be here. I've been looking forward to this for kind of a month or two. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So our topic today is widgets in iOS 14. So we're going to cover what they are and how to install them and how to use them and how to do some special things with them. Before we start, I'll just say this. I've been using iPhones since 2007. I got one the second day they came out, and I've been a Mac consultant since 1988, full-time since 1991. And I guess this is what I'm going to do. It's been 30-something years, so I guess I'm going to stick with it. Okay, so what I want to do is first talk about widgets. I'm going to show you my screen. I'm going to show you a phone with widgets on it. We'll talk about widgets, and then I'm going to wipe it out and we're going to rebuild it. So I like to do things live because you know, PowerPoint is great and Keynote's better, but doing it live, there's a certain excitement about it. So we'll do it like that. So here comes my iPhone screen. This is my iPhone XS. Okay, and so what I'm going to show you is going to work on any iPhone that's got iOS 14 on it. If you have an iPhone with a home button on it, it's going to be a little bit different, but just barely. So I'll try to point that out as we go. Okay, so this is meant to be a hands-on class. I hope you've got your phone, and I'll go slowly enough that we can do this together. So this is what my iPhone looks like. These big things are widgets. Now, if I go over here, this is kind of what everybody's iPhone used to look like. It's what mine used to look like. But here, I've got widgets. So each one of those big squares is a widget. And even the thing at the top with the big time, that's a widget. And so you used to have widgets if when you're swiping through the screens like this, you could go to the first screen and then you could go one more, and these were widgets. So Apple's had these widgets in iOS 13 and I think maybe even in 12, but you had to go past the first home screen to get there. The problem with that is that it always took an extra move to get there, whereas with the way things are now, they're right there on the first screen, right when you turn the phone on. So if my phone went dark, I'll make it dark. Let's see if it stays connected. So here it's dark. Here it's, yes, right away, there's the stuff. So what do we get out of a widget? Well, the advantage is you get information at a glance. So if we look, let me just put this here, just a minute, a little rearranging. Okay, just a second, get my tools in gear here. All right, so if we look at, say, this calendar widget here, you can tell it's a calendar. First of all, it looks like a calendar, but it also says calendar down across the bottom here. Because so widgets always have the name of what they are. You can see in this calendar that my meeting with you all is right there in front of me. I don't have to go to my calendar to see about it. So the same with my temperature here. I can see that in Santa Monica, which is where I am, it's 56 degrees and it's sunny. Well, this is not information that's hard to come by, because normally what you do is you would just tap the weather app and you'd see. But see, I don't have to tap. So up at the top right, I have my to-do list. I use an app called Things, and the list is right in front of me, so I can see what I need to do. So that's the advantage of the widgets, is that the stuff is right in front of you. And this one down here, this is just it's just fun for me to see a photo float up that I've forgotten about, and the phone kind of picks one for you. And so I see a photo, so that's nice too. Just a little decoration. And of course, my favorite part is that I can actually see the time up here. So even though the time is up there in the top left corner, it's a lot easier to see it when it's big and green like that. So this is what you get with widgets. So of course a widget takes up space, but you'll notice if I want to get to my calendar, if I tap this calendar widget here, it takes me to the calendar. I hope. Did it change for you? Did you see my calendar change, anybody?
No, it did not change.
Okay, then that's because when I turned it off, I lost my screen here, but we'll get it back. Our screen mirroring went south.
Okay.
So there was a lot of very pretty boxes I was drawing there, and you didn't see them.
We see the boxes, and
Okay,
we still see
plus.
we still see the blue box around the calendar widget.
Okay, well we're gonna make that better. Just a sec. I've got to share this. I have to share it again.
Okay.
What a drag. Well, this is what you get when you go live, but it's still better.
Sure.
Okay, now we're back. Good. Right? We're seeing me again? Okay.
We're seeing your calendar, yes.
Okay, so the point is that these widgets actually stand in for the icons for the app. So if I tap this, if I tap the calendar widgets there, it will take me to the calendar. So I can use that as sort of a shortcut to get to the real calendar. So every widget is a trigger to go to something like this. The weather one, if I were to touch this weather widget down here, it's just like touching the weather icon. But the advantage is, again, that I can see the information in advance of actually tapping it. I just see it. So this means that when I pick my phone up and it wakes up, I just look and I have info, and that's rather nice. So let's see about making widgets. So I'm going to wipe out these widgets and go back to sort of normal, like things were off the bat. So if you have widgets on your screen, I'll show you how to remove them right now. You touch them, you hold them, and you remove. All right. So that was a special widget called a stack. I'm just going to remove all of these. And see, this is what I'm doing. I'm messing up my own phone for you. Okay, this is commitment. Okay, because I know I can do it. I know I can put it back, and we're going to remove this widget. I'm going to remove this widget, and I'm going to remove this widget. This is actually a widget. Okay, so now here I am. Now I've done it. So now we need to let's start adding some widgets. So how do we do this? Hopefully you see that the value of the widget is that information is there at a glance. You don't have to tap anything, and everything's big. So that's the way I like it. I was a little late to widgets, but once I sort of discovered how they work, I got really excited about them. So here's how you do it. To add a widget, you've got to put your finger somewhere on the screen and make the phone kind of wiggle. So I'm gonna put my finger in the black down here at the bottom, and things are wiggling, and that's normal. Okay, and you'll see if you do this, you should see at the top a plus like this. If you don't see that plus over there, if you're using a phone with a home button, you might see the plus on the top right. It's the same plus. Let's hit the plus. So I'm gonna hit the plus. So remember, widgets are built into the system, and Apple's trying to provide some widgets right off the bat to help you get started. Well, I like this weather widget, so I'm going to add this weather widget. You see down here at the bottom, here's weather, and these are just suggestions. This first group of things is suggestions by Apple, but if you go past that, now you see a big alphabetical list of things where you could that support widgets. So when you choose a widget, really the widgets always belong to an app. They always started with an app. You don't go to the app store and start looking for widgets. They're built into apps. So there's a widget built into the weather app. if I tap where it says weather, they show me there are 3 sizes of widgets. And this is across all widgets. You either get a small one, a medium one, or a large one. So the small one takes up the room of 4 icons on your home screen. And for me, that's perfect. So I'm just gonna tap where it says add widget down here at the bottom. And when I do, we have our first widget. Now, if I'm done, I can tap where it says done at the top right, or I can just tap somewhere else on the screen and that will make it stop wiggling. Or I can swipe up, or if I've got a home button, I can click the home button. So I'm going to tap done at the top right because that feels very secure. Okay, so here's my weather widget. So now, even though I can see the weather icon there, I don't need to touch the weather icon to find out about the weather. I can see what the weather is already. It's the same weather. If I tapped on the weather icon here, I can see the weather, and here's Santa Monica weather. But that was a little bit of work to get there when I can just see it right in front of me, just like this. So that's it's updating, it's live, it's great. So I'm going to add a calendar widget now, and we'll see. We'll start to reconstruct my phone. All right. So again, what we do is we put our finger where there's nothing. We make the phone wiggle, and we touch the plus. So up at the top, either the top left corner on a fairly new phone or the top right corner on an older phone with a home button. So I want a calendar widget, and it's tempting to grab the one that they're showing me here, this one that says Smart Stack, but we don't know what a Smart Stack is yet, so we're not going to do that. We're going to scroll down here, and I'm going to pick. I'm not going to pick this big calendar because it's too big for me. This looks nice. It's going to show me my next appointment, but I really want to see. I want a smaller one, so I'm going to keep scrolling down until I see the big list. Okay, here's calendar. So I'm going to click here on calendar, tap here on calendar, and we're going to get the different sizes. So I don't need a great big one. Again, I'm going to take a small one. Now, you might notice that the button down here, if you were really paying attention, you remember the button was blue when we were doing the weather widget. Now it's red. That button, for some reason, changes color to match the icon of the app you're working with. So it's a little color coordinated thing, but to me it kind of throws people off because there's really no value in it changing. You already know what you're doing, but just be prepared. It's going to change color. So I'm going to add widget. So now I'm going to have a calendar widget too. Okay, so now I've got 2 widgets. And again, I'll tap done. And just to remind you, I can tap the calendar widget up at the top and it pops open. And I can tap the weather widget and it pops open. And this is the exact same weather app that I would have had I tapped the weather app icon itself. But see, now I don't need to have the weather icon. I can get rid of that. And I can also get rid of this because I've got a way to trigger them. So you don't have to have both. So I'm going to delete them both. I'm going to say remove app. And when I do, I just want to remove it from the home screen. I don't want to really delete it. I just want to remove it from the home screen so I don't see it. And I'm going to do the same thing with the weather app here. So we'll just touch this and hold it. And I'm going to remove that app and do what they say again. I'm going to remove from home screen. Okay, so we still have the app, but we just don't have to look at it. Okay, well, so far, we've made 2 widgets. We can switch their places if I want. I'm going to put my finger on the calendar here, and I'm going to go down to where it says edit home screen. And now everything's wiggling again. I can just move this over like this, so I can switch places. So back and forth we go. All right, any questions, Sheeta? You got any questions for us yet?
Carl, do you have a question?
Yes, my widgets look the same as yours, except they're not labeled like calendar or weather. Why is that?
Well, that's interesting. It's supposedly it's required that they show their names underneath. That's an Apple part of the Apple specification for widgets. So I don't know how you did it. That's something a lot of people would like to know how to do.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Carl, what model phone do you have?
10.
Okay.
I'll be darned. Well, that's something, because I'm going to show you later that there's a widget where we'd really like to take the name off, but we can't. But it sounds like you found the magic trick.
I didn't do it on purpose.
He didn't do it on purpose.
Okay,
broke
well,
it.
so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a second weather widget, because you see what I have here. I've got the widget that we have now is local. It's my local weather. If I touch the widget, let's do this. If you've got a weather widget up, if you touch it and you hold it, what you get is, of course, a chance to remove it. But it's this first option here that's interesting for us, the edit widget. So if we edit the widget, oops, just a minute, I lost my screen. My screen's still there?
Yes, your screen is still there.
Okay, it is for you. There it is. Okay, so if we edit the widget, which is what we'll do, here it's a little bit hard to see. This is not perfect, but here we have a chance to change where it's reporting weather for which location. So I'm going to tap where it says my location to do that too. Now this list is the same list that we have in the quote unquote real weather widget. So if you're wondering why you don't have the same list as I do, it's because it's, you have your own list. And I'm going to pick, I want to see the weather in Davis. That's where my mom is, where I grew up. And so now I see Davis. But, come to think of it, it'd be interesting to know what's the weather here too. So how do we do this? Well, what we do is we add another widget. So I'm gonna add a second weather widget. So we're wiggling again. We'll go to the plus. We'll scroll down to weather, and I'll pick another small one here. I'll tap add. So now I have two. Well, okay, it's starting to get crowded, but and actually I want three. So I'm gonna add one more. I'm gonna hit the plus again, and this time I'm gonna add a weather widget. Another weather widget, but this one I'm going to adjust. So I'm gonna tap it and hold it till I get oh well, I have to say, let me say done first. We're done. Now I'm gonna tap and hold on one of these. I'm gonna edit the widget. So this one I'm gonna have be Round Rock, Texas, where it's snowing. So I've got that one. I got the Santa Monica one, and I got the Davis one. Technically, the one that says Santa Monica up here in the top corner is not really Santa Monica. What it is, if I touch it and hold it and I edit the widget, it's actually where I currently am. And that is where I am. But if I were to go to Los Angeles, it's going to show me Los Angeles weather. I'm going to make this one be Santa Monica. So now that's guaranteed to always be Santa Monica. And by the way, one other thing is a little tricky here. When you get in this weather, edit the widget section, there's no close box in this, but if you look really closely, you can see that this is sort of a box. And there's a little tiny writing across the bottom saying that the information comes from the Weather Channel. And as it turns out, when you're done editing a widget, you've got to touch somewhere to tell them you're done. And so you can touch either above that blue square that I drew or below it, anywhere to get out of it. Okay, so I'm going to tap above it. And now we're back to our home screen. So I have these three weather widgets starting to get a little crowded. I'm not that nutty for weather. So what I want to do is I want to combine them. And the way we combine them is we stack them in something called a stack. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we're going to put our finger on one of them and things start to wiggle again. I can actually just let go. Oh, did I delete it? Uh-oh. I think I deleted it. Sorry, I got a little sloppy there. I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna add another one. I'll get my weather act together here. See, stuff happens. It's all right, but it's free. So Santa Monica, Round Rock. We're gonna make it Davis. So I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna edit it. Okay, touch Davis. Okay, so now we know how things are going for mom. Okay, so we're gonna put our finger on one. We're gonna edit the home screen here. I got a fat finger there. I hit the wrong thing. When they're wiggling like this, we can stack them. So I'm gonna take the Round Rock one. I'm just gonna drag it over, and you see there's a little bit of outline around that one that says Davis at the top left. So now they're stacked. I'm gonna grab Santa Monica and drag that over here like this. And I'm gonna put the calendar over here because that's the way I like it. Now I'm done. Now, if you look really sharp to the right of my Santa Monica weather widget, when I am touching it, do you see there's little white dots, and these are similar to the dots that you see across the bottom of the screen to remind you of extra pages of home screen. So what you can do is scroll through these weather widgets by putting your finger on it and pulling down. So I'm just going to pull down, and you see I'm changing to whichever one I want to see. And while you're doing this, you see the dots on the right, but when you aren't touching it, you don't see that. So it's easy to forget that a stack actually is a stack, because there's no indication on the right-hand side here that has more than one widget in it. But hopefully you can remember, and so there you go. So that's a stack. So I've stacked my widgets, which is kind of cool. Okay, now there's no reason that I couldn't also have my calendar in that stack as well. That's perfectly allowed. So just if I wanted to, I could go to edit home screen here, and I could grab this and I could plop that in there. There's no reason why they have to be the same kind of widget. They just have to be the same size. Okay, so that's a stack. Now, when you have other kinds of stacks, you might want to see a certain you might want to see things in a certain order. Well, let's even look at the weather. I'm going to touch the weather one. I'm going to now, you see a new option. We used to have 3 options. Now we have 4. We have edit stack. So I'm going to edit the stack. Okay, so when we do this, we can rearrange the order of things. And this is a little bit difficult because you can't tell which one is Santa Monica, which one's Davis, and which one's Round Rock. But you can still grab them and move them around. You can kind of, if you try it, and then you close up this box, you can see, okay, so Davis is the top one. You see it's got the reason I can tell it's the top one is you see the little dot on the right. So that's, as I move this, you see there's Davis is the top one. The second one is, let's see, who's this? Round Rock's the last one. Santa Monica's, who's number 2? Davis is the second one. Okay, so now I know. So you can rearrange the order, but with weather, it's quite difficult. If what I did instead was I've added the calendar to it. So I'm gonna, I'll do edit home screen. I'll put the calendar in it. So now I've got one widget. If I touch this and I go to edit the stack, okay, let's edit the stack. I can put the calendar at the top so that the calendar is generally there. Okay, and one more option here, the Smart Rotate. So what Smart Rotate does is it tries to figure out which one of these widgets you want to see when. So they may figure out that every morning I look at my calendar. If every morning I look at my calendar first thing, that in a matter of a day or two of me doing the same thing every day, Apple will show me the calendar every morning in this stack instead of making me scroll through. So that's what a smart stack's about. It turns out that they're fairly smart. If you are a very regular person, if the first thing you do in the morning is you check your calendar, and after that you check your to-do list, they would rotate those in. But it turns out there's another way to do it where you don't count on this, the phone being smart. You can just do what you want when you want. So I'm going to show you that too. So now I've made one stack here. This is a nice stack. It's got 4 things in it. The problem is that I really liked it separate because I want to be able to see that information without scrolling. Otherwise, I'm taking away the part of the point of having a stack or having a widget. So if I go here, what I can't do is I can't pull the calendar widget out of that. Okay, so just be aware. It's not a perfect world. If you make a stack like this and then you change your mind, all you can do is I can go here and edit the stack. So I'm going to touch it, edit stack. I'm going to take calendar out of it. To get the calendar out of it, I'm going to swipe on the calendar to the left here. I've got to pull it over here, and I can delete it. It's sort of the normal swipe and delete maneuver. Okay, so that's so now the good news is I have my just the weather widgets here together, but the bad news, I got to add the calendar again, which I'm going to do. So this is good review. We'll touch where there's nothing. We hit the plus. I scroll down to calendar, and I take this calendar widget, and there it is. Okay, so I'm back to normal, but just be aware, if you think it's going to be really fun to stack them all into one giant stack, there's no way to break up the stack. All you can do is delete things and sort of start over. And it's not that great an idea to stack too many things, because really the point of this is to have information at a glance, and it's not at a glance if you have to scroll. Okay, so
Christian,
yes,
we do have a question on stacks.
Awesome.
Mitch, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, it's more of a real irritation. I wanted to know if you ever heard anything about it, but one of the things I find very irritating on stacks is it does not tell you it's a stack unless you hover over it and you see those dots on the side. And I just think that's why it doesn't show it's a stack. I don't know. And the second thing I do have a question about, and that is on adding widgets. It seems like some of my apps are on that list and others are not. Is that just a function of the of what Apple will accept, or is that a function of the developer not doing what's necessary to get in that list?
Okay, great questions. That to answer the second question first, yes, the application has to be updated to include a widget. So that's up to the developer. So most of the Apple ones, many of the Apple ones do, but for example, I don't think, not all of them do. I don't think there's a camera widget. I don't think there's a messages or a mail widget. So there's, it has to be rewritten. So the ones in the list that's what you get. So if you have a third-party app that you like a lot, and you hope there's a widget for it, you'll make sure you stay up to date. So if the developer makes one, you'll have it. Yeah, you don't get a widget without an app. The app has to be there first. Now, as far as the stack thing, I agree. If we look at my Santa Monica weather widget here, you don't see anything in this blue box which to indicate that there are more than one weather widget here until I start pulling down. When I start pulling down, I can see that there are some, but that's at that point I already know it's a stack. But then you see it shortly disappears. So I think that's a shortcoming too. It's just, and that one is just the way it is. I imagine that'll get fixed because I don't think anyone likes that. Okay, so
Thank you.
okay, you're welcome. So let's do so we saw smart rotate, which was, if I look at the weather here and I edit the stack, smart rotating is different than a smart stack. Okay, a smart stack is a stack that that figures out what to show you without you even doing any work at all. So they'll do a smart stack, and you'll see. So I'm going to add another widget, and if we go, whoops, I missed. If you look, I'll find my smart stack here. Here, okay. So smart stack is right here. I had to scroll a ways. If I do this one, you get, you would not get a picture of me and my girlfriend, but you would get a picture maybe of your own, and you can see what they say. What they say here is automatically rotates widgets to show most relevant information. And of course, you can scroll through them. You can see this one is showing you that there's going to be multiple pages here. You also can see that they can do this in different sizes. So let's just take one and see what happens. See, what they don't tell you here is which widgets are going to be in this stack. I know one of them is going to be a photo. Well, let's do that. So that's a good start. All right, so now I'm going to click done. Let's see what's in this widget. So I'm going to scroll through here. I've got a shortcut. All right, I've got my to-do list. I got the date. That's nice. I got the time. That's nice. I got a little bit of music. That's nice. And I got a map. I mean, this is kind of like, I feel like I just went trick-or-treating and I open up my bag and see what I got. So if you kind of want to be surprised, if you like that sort of thing, then a smart stack is just the thing for you. For me, since that's not part of what we were working on today, I'm gonna remove this stack, and we're gonna continue to add things to make this look like my phone used to look. Okay, so we know how to move things around. We know how to move. We know how to stack them. We can change their order. It can really be anywhere too. I've put these at the top, but let's show you. If I touch and we say edit home screen, I could put this down here. Put it anywhere you want. It's totally up to you. When you make a new widget, it always goes in the top left corner. So that's just something to know. That's where it's going to go. And another thing about widgets, which you may have noticed, is it's a great way to mess up your home screen. If you have your home screen perfectly set up, and now you start adding widgets, it's not going to be perfectly set up anymore. You're going to have to do some adjusting after that. If you want to practice, you might practice on another home screen, because you can add a widget to any home screen. So if I add one here, it's not messing up my first home screen. Usually the first home screen is the one we care about the most. So that clock didn't show up here at the beginning. Okay, so let's do.
Before you start, Christian, can you take a question?
Sure, of course.
Alan, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
It's related to the first question that was asked about when I wanted to add calendar. I didn't see calendar on my list. So somehow or other calendar was not available to me. Was there a reason why I couldn't find calendar on my list and you had calendar on your list?
That's a surprise to me. I'm gonna hit the plus and show you where I think you should see it. It should be right there. I mean, they're alphabetical.
I went from batteries to clock and never had calendar.
Well, it's possible that the calendar is not on your phone at all. If the calendar is not there, if the app's been deleted, then you won't see the widget either.
So I have to go to the Apple Store and load calendar?
Yeah, it sounds like you may have deleted the calendar. If I'm wrong about that, then I'm stuck. But if you don't see the calendar anywhere on your phone, then that would explain it. So yeah, you can go back to the App Store and get the calendar again for free.
Okay, and then the other even minor question is that when you were showing the weather ones, 2 of them were blue and 1 of them was gray. I mean, why was that?
Because it's a gray day out there in Round Rock. They're trying to show you visually what the weather looks like. That it's gloomy and stormy there, and it's sunny. So sunny gets a nice pretty blue, and even if it's nighttime, I think it even shows it like almost black with stars. So it's like this. It's the way the weather widget works. You see, this is looking. You can see
now,
the
Barbara
fog
had
going
a
across.
question also.
Alan, thank you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Christian.
All right. So we're all set. We're ready to roll. Okay.
We're ready to roll.
Okay. So so we know how to make these are widgets that anybody can put on because they are from Apple apps. And as long as you've got those apps installed, you'll see them in the list. Okay, and so there's a lot of flexibility here in how you do this. Now, it turns out you can also add widgets for apps that aren't Apple apps, and that's kind of nice. So I'm gonna do one here. I have an app called Things, and you can see the icon for Things here on my screen. So here's a few things that I need to do. Check this one off. I did it. So I have a, I've got a little to-do list here. Nothing major, just 699 things. That's all right. So I want to have a widget that shows me those things. Now you could, if you want to show, say, the reminders widget instead, that's fine too. So, but let's add a widget here. I'm going to go to plus, and I'm going to scroll down here, and now my list is showing me. Here's a bunch of Apple apps, but here's some other. I don't have too many that have widgets, but I want to put things on there. So I'll put my things over here. Okay, so now I've got that, and I think my other widget was I had a photos widget. So photos widget is really nice. So I'm gonna hit the plus. Let's add a photos widget. So when you tap the photos widget, the one that they're showing right up front here, when it says for you, this is that for you section in the photos. So if you were in the Photos app and you looked at the for you section, these are pictures that Apple has figured out you might want to see. They're either pictures from a year ago today, or they're some other reason that they think is makes the picture appropriate for you today. So I'm gonna pick that, and I'm gonna take add a widget. Now you can make it a bigger widget, but this is fine. A little goes a long way here. So I'm gonna put this one down here, and I'm gonna put this one up here. There we go. Okay, and so you can see the downside of the widgets is that they do take up 4 times as much room as a regular icon. But the good news is, when you really think about it, it takes up the space of 3 things, because the 4th one is the widget itself is triggering an app. So if I wanted to get to photos, of course I could tap the photos button here, right? But I don't need to see that, because I can also just tap on my big photos widget, and that takes me to photos. So that means that I can remove the photos app and say, I just want to, if I say remove the app, and they say, yeah, I want to remove it from the home screen. Yeah. So now it's reducing clutter, which is nice. I'm gonna do the same thing with things. I don't need to see the things icon either. So I'll just remove that, and I'll remove from home screen again. So anyway, this is a nice way for me to make up for the fact that each widget takes up 4 times the space of the icons. When you think about it, it really takes up 3, because the 4th one is sort of buried inside. So just to remind you here, if I touch the calendar widget, that's the full calendar. If I touch the weather widget, that's the full weather app. If I touch my things, it's my full things. And if I touch the photos, it's the full photos. And you see here's in this for you section, I've got these different photos here. So so that's fun. So this, and the photos one, by the way, this photos one changes every hour. So if you just wait, and we won't see this change, but I know later today I'll see a different picture, and that's fun. So I think putting a photos widget on is a great idea, because pictures are easy. It's easy to forget about them, and then when they float up to the surface through the widget, you have a little aha moment, like, oh, that was fun. I remember that. Okay, so good. Now, I guess you probably noticed that even though I've got my widgets on the home screen, which I like, it's also possible for them to be other places too. So you can see some experiments like the one I did earlier today with the clock. It doesn't have to be on the home screen. And by the way, this also doesn't take away the work that Apple does on the home screen that's to the left of the first home screen. You can see across the bottom here that I'm on home screen number 1 with that white dot. But if I push back this way, you can see, oh, you know what? You don't see them. Oh, I think we stopped sharing. Did it stop sharing? Is it not moving?
No, it's still sharing, but it's not moving.
Yeah, I see. Okay, how did that happen? Well,
I don't know, swipe the other way to see if it's working the other way.
not moving. Okay, I gotta stop sharing. We'll share it again. I don't know what happened.
Okay,
All
all
right,
right.
back. Okay. Yeah, these, like I say, it's more fun to do it live than
Absolutely.
it's more fun.
Forgot what you look like, so that helps.
That's great. Okay, so who knows? Okay, good. We're back. And he's back. Okay, so when we look again, just to remind you, down here at the bottom, we see the dots showing us that we have, in this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 home screens, and I'm on the first one. But what Apple does, and what they've done previous to iOS 14, is they had their own widgets over here. You had to swipe past. So I'm going to swipe from left to right and pull this over. These widgets were there. They've been there for a while, but because you had to go to get them, it was a little less useful. But the fact is that they're still there. If you want them, they're there. But if my phone goes to sleep and then it wakes up, it's going to be right here on the screen you're looking at now, with all that information right in front of me. I don't have to swipe anything or tap anything, and I've got the info. So to me, a huge advantage. Okay, so now I want to
Christian?
take, yes.
I believe Michael Slider has a question directly related to this. Michael, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, thank you very much. Christian, if you could slide back to the first screen, the Apple screen, and slide all the ways down to the bottom. And you'll see where it says edit.
Yes.
Doesn't that give you an opportunity to add more widgets?
It does. It does. And there's the plus up there at the top, so I could add one.
No, I didn't mean that. Those. It's a different menu item altogether. If you go to edit, it lets you add third-party apps.
Well, sure.
Doesn't it?
Well, I go to edit, right? I've gone to edit, and then what would you do next? Customize like this,
Yeah,
and then
right, exactly. If you go to the customize, it says more widgets.
yeah, I see. Well, let's just see about this. There's certainly a lot of widgets here, aren't there?
Yeah, that's the point.
Okay. Well, why don't we see if we can find one that might be interesting to me?
And you notice things is not in that list as an example.
Okay,
But smart things are.
Yeah, something else. All right. Well, let's put in. I'll put in something that's interesting to me. Maybe we'll put in Shazam and see what happens here. And so now this is, yeah. So this is my list of. Well, things was already there. You see, it's up here at the top.
Right.
So when you have a list like this, what you're getting is these are widgets that are already there. These are widgets that could be added. And if I remove things from the top list by tapping its circle here, all it does is jump down to, now it's going to be in the more widgets, allegedly. It'd be nice to be right. There it is. So you're just passing it between the top list and the bottom list. That's why it's here now. So if I go to our widgets here, here's my Shazam widget. But if I go back and add the things, let's go add things and see. We'll go to edit. We'll go to hit the plus. Well, I see. No, you went to edit and you went down to customize, didn't you? That's what you want to do. So edit. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. Customize. I'm going to add things. Hit that plus. And now if I go up to the top here, we should see things in this list. I'm going to put things right on top of ESPN. Let's see what happens now. So now I'm done. And what do we see? So these are the Apple ones. Here's the clock I added. Here's my things right here, right on top of ESPN. So, you know, I have never done that even once, because this list of widgets was always a little bit of trouble to get to, and so I kind of forgot about them. So it wasn't until we got widgets on this screen, on the home screen, that I really got into it. So I gotta say, I'm not, I can't give you any tips about this business over here, but I can tell you how things get into those different lists. So I think this is much more useful to be on the home screen itself. Otherwise, you're not getting the benefit of information at your very first glance, which to me is the whole point. Okay, was there another question a little more about that?
I don't know.
Yes,
Okay, go ahead, Mitch.
it's Mitch. Those things at the bottom, that list at the bottom where you hit customize,
Yeah,
those can be added to widgets on the widget page, but they cannot be added to other pages like on your iPhone. That's the restriction.
I see. Yeah, that's. I think this is what makes the ones on the home screen so great. Is
Yeah, that's the big difference, because a lot of mine, like the ones that I might want, are listed at the bottom, and I can put them like where you are right now.
Yeah,
But I
right.
can't get them on my, because they're not on the add stuff at the top in the approved sort of Apple widgets. You can't drag them over to your home page or other pages.
It's really interesting, because they're both called widgets, but it's almost like there's two different things going on here. Well,
All right.
I guess that's the way it is. So
Yeah,
I
anyhow, I just wanted to mention that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mitch.
Okay.
Okay.
Was there another
All
one,
right,
Sheeta?
there are several.
Oh, my.
So this is what I want to ask you. Do you want to try to finish your presentation and then ask questions, or do you want to ask questions now? Because you have at least 4 questions.
Okay. And we have about 20 minutes to go. Is that right?
Slightly less than 20 minutes. Yes.
Okay. I'll take one. Spin the wheel and give me one question.
All right. Bill Nice, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Christian,
Yes.
I would like to see the weather presentation that you have up here for Round Rock, but I would like to now go to the second one and see just the radar without having to go through it all. Is there any way we can do that?
So you want it to not just show you the
Well, there's all kinds of advertisements and little stories and everything with the weather. And I like the 2 things I want is this page for Round Rock, and then I want to see the radar.
I see. So you would have to go here and then find I'm not even sure where the radar information is. Is it within the weather app?
It's in the weather app, and you just go down quite a ways through it before you get to it. And I just was curious if there's a way to.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Can you lock in the radar? So that's the first one you would see.
yeah, I'm sorry, I don't really know enough about the weather app. I'm just happy to know the temperature. So I guess I'm showing my ignorance there. I'm going to keep going, because I want to show you one other really important feature, which is, see, all the stuff we've got here, with the exception of my Things app, which is just a fancy to-do list. Everything that I've shown you is built in, and you already have these apps, and you already have these widgets, and you could easily substitute the Reminders widget for my Things widget and have your own to-do list there. So all of this was standard and stock. But if you add a widget, an app called WidgetSmith, I'll see if I can find WidgetSmith for you. It's a simple little thing. Okay, this is what WidgetSmith looks like. It looks like a blue rounded corner square. So when you touch WidgetSmith, you get this app, that has it helps you to make widgets. All right. So the idea is that you can make your own widgets, and then you can add those widgets to your home screen, just like any other widget that a developer had made in his app. So the one thing I really wanted was a big digital time. And so I made one, but I'm going to make another one here. So let me start by launching Widgetsmith. I'm going to put Widgetsmith on the home screen here so you can see. So here's the Widgetsmith app. I'm going to touch Widgetsmith. By coincidence, they're using blue. Seems like a great color. Okay, so I'm gonna tap Widgetsmith, and we get into this app. And so what we're gonna do is we're able to make widgets in various sizes, and I'm gonna make a medium widget. And you can see I've already made one, the one that I called Big Green Time. But I'm gonna add one. I'm gonna call it Big Yellow Time. Right? I'm gonna make a yellow one. So when I touch Add Medium Widget, they I'll do that in slow motion here. I was too fast. Okay, add a medium widget. The widget is just there, it's just sitting there, and it's called medium number 3. If I added another one, it's going to be medium number 4. And you see, here I go. So now if I want to get rid of one of these, so basically I'm building up a collection of widgets, but of course they all look pretty much the same. So I'm going to get rid of number 4, and I'm going to edit this one that's called medium number 3. And we're going to make this my own clock that's nice and big, and in this case, it's going to be yellow. So I'm going to touch it, and now I get to edit this thing. So what are we going to do here? Well, we get to right off the bat, they're saying it's default widget. Well, I'm going to touch that. Okay, so what I did is I simply touched here on this widget, and I'm going to make it look the way I want it to look. So my widget, they're all going to be wide. It's going to be this sort of license plate size thing or formatted thing. I'm going to scroll down here. We're going to find us a nice date and time. And I like this one that shows me the time. That's big. So I'm going to take that. So I tap that. And now that I've done it, we get some choices down at the bottom. And besides being able to choose like a time zone, we can also choose the aesthetic. Whoops, sorry, I just hid my screen from myself. We can choose the aesthetic here, which is basically how does it look. So I'm going to choose that. So I'm going to touch, and now we have some canned ideas that they like. I mean, if you really wanted it to look like candy canes, I could just touch candy cane here, and it would look like that. But it's not what I'm after here. I'm after customization here. So I'm going to scroll through here. If I find one that I sort of like, this neon one's really close. So I'm going to touch this one that says neon. And most of the time with Widgetsmith, what you're doing is you're just enjoying the widget that you made. On occasion, like when you want to make the widget, you have to do the work we're doing now. So I've made this widget. It's going to show me the time, digital numbers, and it's going to be yellow. And what I'm going to do though is I'm going to make one little change to it. I'm going to touch where it says customize down at the bottom, and I'm going to change the shade slightly here. So I'm going to say I can change the font, but I'm going to change the tint. So I'll see if I can find, I've picked yellow, but I'm going to make it my own yellow if I can do it. Well, actually, you know what? I can't do that, but I can. But I'll pick. I'm still going to make it be yellow. But I could pick a different font and that kind of thing. So I've got my yellow thing, and now I'm going to go back here, and it's still like it's a crummy name, right? Medium 3 up here. So I'll never recognize this in a list if it's called medium 3. So I'm going to do what they say. I'm going to tap to rename. So I'm going to call this I'm gonna call this big yellow clock. That's not how you spell that. Okay. Okay. Clock, not click. Okay, so now in my collection of widgets, I have a medium one that's called medium number 1, which is a calendar. I don't need that. A big green time, which I like, and a big yellow clock. There are other widgets down here. I could add a large widget.
Actually, I'm at 95%.
Sorry, that was my iPad talking. I could add a big one or a small one, but I've done what I want to do. So now, you don't see any, there's no effect here. What did I do? Nothing yet. But now when I go to add a widget, I'm gonna click the plus up at the top. And when I scroll through here, the widget I'm going to choose is a Widgetsmith widget. So down here at the bottom, here's Widgetsmith. Now this is a little bit strange. So in this case, what you had to do is you have to kind of create the widget first. Then you come in here and you say, which size was it? Well, it was a medium widget. I remember that. Okay, so when we add this, I didn't get the yellow one because they just picked one. But if I touch the widget, I can now edit the widget. And I said, no, give me the yellow one. Okay, so now I'm done. Now I've got, now I have my big yellow widget up here. So if I tire of that, I can touch it, hold it, edit the widget, and pick another one that's of that same size, the medium size. If I put in this one, it's going to be the one that they like. But I'm going to touch it, hold it, edit the widget, and finally I'm going to put in the one that I like, my big green one that I worked so hard on. So now I've put my phone back to normal here, and someone asked earlier about the names, and you can see this has to show the name Widgetsmith. This is a requirement from Apple to show the name of the app that's associated with the widget. So you see these all the way here. So now there's one other thing that's really cool about this. This is the last part I'm going to show you, and then we do questions. So if I look at this, let's go to Widgetsmith again, and I'm going to edit this widget, my big green time. You see at the bottom, you have this thing that says add a timed widget. And the key is that you get to say when things change. So I'm going to say at 11 o'clock, I want the time not to say 11 p.m. I want to say bedtime to remind me that it's getting late. So I'm going to add where it says add a timed widget. I'm going to do that. So if we look here, we see this kind of sweeping around thing here. I'm gonna go around to here and say, look, at 11 o'clock, between 11 and 12, most of the time it's going to show me the real time, which is showing me here in the middle. That's what the widget does. But between 11 and 12, I'm going to have it do something else. And this is, so what I do is I tap up there. I'm going to tap here. And when I do, I'm going to add a different widget there. So I'm going to scroll through here and I'm going to find something that does what I want it to do. I can put in any words I want. I'm just going to put in where it says, I'll do this one that says custom text right here. Okay. So if I tap that, I get to fill that in, and I'm going to, where it says text at the bottom and says your text here, we're going to tap that, we're going to change that. So now in here, I'm going to put in bedtime. All right. And see if that will do the trick for me. We'll see. And so what it means is that at 11 p.m., instead of showing me the clock, it's going to just say the word bedtime in that same space right up here. This will magically change to say bedtime. Now it's kind of I mean, that's maybe a little on the silly side, but you can imagine if you had things that you're supposed to do, like let's say you're supposed to take a pill, like my friend Tom's supposed to take a pill at 2 p.m. He could have it changed to say, take your pill at 2 p.m. And actually you can show the clock and have your words in it. So this is sort of like the smart rotating that Apple does with the stacks, but this one doesn't have to be that the phone is smart. You get to be smart and you tell it when you want things to rotate. And so that's a pretty useful thing. And you could have, more than one changeover. I mean, it could be, take your pill at 2 p.m. It could be go to bed at 11 p.m. It could be, whatever else you're supposed to do at certain times. So that could be sort of fun. I mean, I know you can set alarms other ways, but if it's big and right in your face, it might be just the thing. Okay, that is I've covered what I wanted to cover. So I'll take questions if we still have time.
Okay, we have about 9 minutes. Don Peacock, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi, Christian. Nice presentation. Thanks. When you deleted things from the home screen because you put it on a widget, where does it go? And does it come back if you delete the widget?
Yeah, where it is, if I scroll through here, I got rid of a bunch of them. There, once you go past the last screen, you have this app library. So you can see here's some of our old friends here. Here's our calendar, which I deleted. Here's things which I deleted. I forget what else we deleted, but photos. So yeah, so they're here. They're still here in the app library. So then you can, if you care to, suppose I want to have the calendar back on my screen anyway, I can touch it, wiggle it, and add it to the home screen. It'll just go flying back.
Thank you.
Not what I want to do, because as you can see, it messed up my.
Yeah, but thanks.
So the key is to just remove it from the home screen like this. Okay. But so this is my actual phone. This is how I do it. So to me, I see all this information without touching anything. Just if the phone's on, I see it, and that's awesome for me.
Okay, Gerald Gifford, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question? Go ahead, Gerald. Gerald? I see you've unmuted yourself, Gerald, but we do not hear you. Gerald? Okay, Mitch, can you go ahead and ask your question?
I'm sorry, I don't have a question.
Okay, Kenneth Falls, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, hi, quick question. I no longer have any home screens. I took everything out and just use the app library. So
Nice.
when I want to look at these widgets, I have to go over further to the left. Is that correct? There's no other way to have them just pop up when I first turn on my phone?
Oh, I see. So you have no home screen at all. All you have is the app library.
That's correct.
Wow. Well, maybe you could. So when you turn your phone on, you see the app library. You don't see the widgets that Apple gives you. You go straight to your app library.
Well, when I turn my phone on first, I just have a picture there. It just says the date and the time. And if I go to the left, I see my widgets. And if I go to the right, I see my library.
I think what I would do is maybe add back one app to the home screen, and then you can make your widgets on that screen, and then you can delete that app, and I think you still have them. I mean, maybe you still have a dock with apps in it like this down at the bottom.
Let me look. Hang on a second. No.
Wow.
No.
Well, that's pretty minimal. And if you want to be able to see things when you first turn the phone on, then I think you're going to have one home screen. So But if you fill it up with widgets, it'll be awesome. Right? So that's
Okay,
what
I understand what you're saying. That's fine. That'll do what I want. Thank you.
Okay, Sophia's question is, does the calendar widget keep all the information from the past, like the calendar app?
Well, no, what this shows, that's a great question. What this is showing you is technically it's called what's next. So when I go to add the widget, if we look at the calendar, you see it says up next. So it's always scrolled to the to today, and it shows you what's coming up. Like here, our appointment has happened, so I no longer see you. I see Esteban. So that's what it's doing. So it doesn't really it doesn't contain the calendar. It just shows you the what it shows you is the upcoming events and the very latest upcoming event. You can't fit too many on here. And this isn't even scrollable, but if I touch it, it takes me to the full calendar. So the answer is sort of yes, because when I do this, this is the full calendar, right? This is all the way back to, as far back as you want to go. Okay, so I hope that answers that.
Okay. There are two questions about things, the apps things and Widgetsmith. Are they both available in the App Store?
Yes. So things is a little pricier. There's things for the iPhone, things for the Mac, and things for the iPad. And I can't wholeheartedly say this is the greatest to-do list ever. I think the greatest to-do list ever has probably never been made. This is a good to-do list. Reminders is also good. But yes, these are App Store apps. Now, Widgetsmith is free. I'm so glad someone asked this because I really dropped the ball here. Widgetsmith is free. All the things I showed you today with Widgetsmith were free, but you do have to go get the app. If you pay a little bit, and you can get extra features in Widgetsmith. You might have seen some things. Some of the themes had locks on them. Those are things that you can't do for free, but it turns out the developer's name is I think it's David Smith, Widgetsmith, and he's committed to making it mostly free. So you should definitely get that.
Do you have to create any type of account for Widgetsmith?
No, you do not. You simply get the app from the App Store, and you do what I showed you today. And if not, you can do there's a little tutorial on the Widgetsmith webpage. As it turns out, that there's also I have 2 tutorials on my webpage about widgets. I've got a video about how to make a widget at all, and then a video about some more advanced widget things. I don't have a video about Widgetsmith, but anyway, if you go to my website, you can watch the video and you can basically see what I did today again in slow motion. You watch it backward if you want.
Yeah, well, plus we're making a video of the meeting today, so you'll have that.
Okay, good.
Okay, there is one more question. I don't know if it applies to what you're doing today, but maybe you tell me. Is there anything that you can add about Siri suggestions?
Yeah, okay, that's nice. Siri suggestions, I left off a few things. Of course, you can't talk about everything all at once. But so when you look at the widgets, here I'm going to add a widget, and you see Siri suggestions. So what's happening here is Siri is more than just you talking to the phone and having it do things. Siri is sort of intelligence that's built into the phone and built into the system. And one of the things it's doing is it's trying to guess what it is that's important to you at the time. So Siri here has guessed that the things that matter to me are these apps which I use a lot. And so they've seen I do use the weather a lot. I use things a lot, the calendar, photos. settings, Widgetsmith, shortcuts, and this is one from Google Ads, which supports some of my website stuff. So these are apps I'm in the most, and so Siri has guessed that I might want to add that as a widget itself. So if I tap that and I add this widget, you see it comes in different sizes here, but I'm gonna pick, these are shortcuts that I might have either I made or I imported. But I'm gonna just, if I pick this one, this app suggestions, what happens now is these are apps that the phone thinks I'm going to want these apps. But see, this is going to change over time. If I start using the ESPN app a lot, it's going to float itself up into this list. So that's sort of interesting. Now, the reason I don't do that is because even if it's not there, I can always pull down, and in this list, here's my Siri suggestions. You see, I mean, you probably have done this before. When you're on any home screen, you pull down and you get Siri suggestions. So I'm just so used to doing that I don't need to see it right here in front of me. I can have a little neater affair. So I'm going to remove that widget, but even without it, I can still, if I simply swipe down, here's my Siri suggestions right there. So that's why I don't have it there, but it is, that's what it does, is it guesses what should be there in the same way that this guesses, what's the right app to use. This morning when I pulled down, it showed me an app called Weight Guru, because every day first thing I do is I go weigh myself, and I have to use the Weight Guru app to get the scale to shoot it into the phone. So first thing in the morning, one of these icons would be replaced with the Weight Guru app, and so everybody's would be different based on your use. But that's why I don't have it there, is because I can always pull it. I can always pull down, and there's my Siri suggestions right there. So that's hopefully that's your answer.
All right, great, thank you. It is 12:48. George, do you want to come in?
Yes.
Go.
Yes, thank you very much, Kristen. We really enjoyed it. And do we want to open up the mic so everybody can say thank you?
Yeah, unmute yourself, please, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Christian.
Christian.
Thanks
very much, Christian.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
Presentation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank you very much, Kristen, and everybody stay well. And we'll see you on Saturday for the class on photos.
Okay.
Thank you.
See y'all.
Thank
Okay,
you
good.
so much.
See you
Thank
next
you,
time.
Christian.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheeta.
You're
Thanks,
quite
Edgar.
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye, George.
Thanks so much.